Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox here in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And this is just the tie-off of the excellent gaming experience I've had for the past couple of months. It's the Bloodbath Rules Season 2. I was fortunate enough to be a part of it as Italy. And if you haven't seen the whole run of all of the videos on it, I won't give anything away here. Um, but you can look back on my vids or head over to Detroit. That's Axis and Allies, the Garrison. Head over there and you can watch his wrap-up videos. He has done a ton of work on on his channel, recapping all of the different videos and all the different moves that happened. So. Uh, I just want to say something here, and this is a spoiler alert, so mute me for the next 30 seconds or so, or skip ahead about 30 seconds. I'm going to do a little spoiler here, starting in 3, 2, 1. Alright, for those of you who did watch all of them, and you realize that the Axis, through some miraculous die rolling here, was able to get their 12th point in order to win the entire game with Italy. Anzac does go after Italy, and I had mentioned in my video that perhaps they would put this artillery here, come on up to New Britain and try to attack the Japanese to perhaps take one of the islands back. But unfortunately that wouldn't have been enough because the Japanese just have too many islands. They need to hold 4 islands. They've got the Aleutians, they've got Hawaii, they've got Midway, and they've got the Philippines. So they would actually have to bring this thing up here and attack the Philippines, which of course, as you can see right off the bat, it's a failed venture. This destroyer, I guess, could come in, but there's no doubt that these two planes would scramble, thereby winning that battle and just sinking everything. So G.I. Joe, who was playing Anzac, decided not to. So there we go. All right, so that never happened. So anyway, for those of you who are back joining us here on the regular scheduled programming, so the game is done, and we're looking at doing another one. I don't know if I'll be part of it. I'd love to be. But there are a lot of guys who just see the amazing rule set that Sired Blood came up with, hence the term Bloodbath Rules. And it's an 8-round game. I think you can have between 7, 8, 9, or 10 rounds, maybe even more. But I believe those are the 4 levels I saw on the card. And then Axis are trying to get a specific number of victory points. Some of them are cities, and some of them are area control. So I'm going to be cleaning this up though, and with a little sadness. But I was able to procure another copy of Axis and Allies D-Day. Nice shiny one here, still in the wrap. And it was being sold on Amazon. I think I picked it up for 22 bucks or something. So not sure they have any left, but maybe head over to Amazon and see if they do. Free shipping and all that jazz. Not to Canada though. I had to go across the border, but I'm only about 7-8 minutes away from the American border here, so I just zip across to a box and pick up free shipping there. A little trick we have here in Abbotsford. A lot of people do it. We also get our gas over there because now it costs about equal to college tuition to fill up your tank here in Western Canada now. So we go across and fill up in the States. It's considerably cheaper. So take that, liberals, and your carbon tax. You're not getting a dime out of me for that, that's for sure. Holy cow. Anyway, no politics. Anyway, so I'm going to be setting up Axis and Allies D-Day, and if time permits, I might even do a dual board, but we'll see. All right, we'll talk to you guys in just a second. All right, well, here we go. And we've got ourselves quite the thing set up here. We've got our Axis and Allies D-Day with this is the original version with a couple of little tiny insignificant changes. One is that when I bought this, I got shorted a tank, so I had to put in that, and I think I got an extra 88 or something out of it. But anyway, they shorted me a tank. And with the British, what I have done is because they shorted me an infantry, I actually now use these airborne infantry troops that I got at Historical Board Gaming. So kind of a nice little thing to put in there. If you ever find yourself with some actual airborne troops, they kind of stand out a little bit. So this is my original version that I bought 15 years ago or 20 years ago, whenever this came out. This came out in '04, so that's 15 years ago. There you go. And I think I bought it a half an hour after it came out. So yeah, I was pretty keen on getting this one when I heard it was coming out. So I've set up my old version, and then this is the new version that I have purchased from, got it off Amazon, and they had a ridiculously good sale, so I was able to get it for, I guess about 25 bucks or something US, which is about 150 Canadian or something. I'm not sure of the exchange, but still pretty good deal, and free shipping, so that was nice. But I'm going to just tell you about a couple of the differences. Pretty much everything's the same. There's not anything that's terribly different. The plastic of the old German units versus the new ones. So if we look at the old ones, they're on the right-hand side here. They're a little more grayish. The other ones are a bit more pure black. So that gray, it actually comes out on my monitor here. It looks like it's a little blue almost. But that's the old ones. We'll put him back there. And so that's about it for the German stuff. It's just a little shinier black. And who knows? Maybe it's because I've had this for 15 years. Who can tell? Although this tank that I switched them out with, I switched that tank out probably 10-12 years ago, and it's still black, so who knows. The other thing is the British. The American units are exactly the same. I don't think there's a change at all, but the British units are considerably different. So on the right-hand side, we have the old units. Now I'm not sure if the camera is picking it up there. Maybe we'll move a little bit further in here to get away from too much glare. I don't know. But it's really white, like it's like an eggshell almost, white color. Maybe we'll put it there. Maybe it'll turn out a little bit. It looks a little better. And the other one is the typical kind of camel. I don't know, beige, sandy. I'm not really sure. In comparison, so they're completely different as far as color goes. But everything else is identical. The sculpts are the same. And the rule books are the same. I haven't gone through them page by page, but they seem to be the same from what I looked at. And the cards are the same. All right, the action cards that we use seem to be identical. So that's nice to know that they haven't really changed a ton of things on us there. So for this, what I'm going to do is just for kicks, I'm going to run through the game, just play solo, and we're going to go, we're just going to use the regular decks. We're not going to be using the tactics and fortune cards, because that's just going to make it take forever. So I'm just going to quickly go through, and I'll give you an update as we go along here, and we'll see if left side or right side. See how they turn out. Maybe the Axis will win both. Maybe the Allies will win both. Maybe it'll be a split. We'll see. So thanks for tuning in, and we will be back with the end of the first round in just a second. Okay, after round one, this is how the board looks. We're just about to send our fighters back and start round two with some bombardment and all the rest, but we're going to give you a quick rundown. On this board, the Germans really took it on the chin. They got beat up badly, but they're obviously, they're a force to be reckoned with, And they rolled some decent reinforcements here in the east. They're getting 11 units, and that's good for them. The British got 9 here in the east. The Americans got 9. As you saw over here, the Germans only got 4 in the west, so they're a little anemic over there. But they've placed their stuff obviously in places where there aren't any fighters, so they're safe. Over here, the Germans had a really bad roll in the east, but their battling is going pretty well in the east as well. They didn't take too many casualties here, and yeah, they survived the first attack anyway. And if you know the game, there's an 8-unit limit for each side. So the British have 8 units in here, so that's all it can attack, and most of those are going to be 1s. In this game, also, artillery doesn't boost infantry. So, the British have 6 1s here, going to be against the Germans. So they have 6 1s and a 2 and a 3. And then the Germans have a whole bunch of 2s here. Everything defends at a 2, except for the tanks. The British tanks, American tanks defend at 2s. The German tanks defend at 3. I think that just had to do with supply and, possibly quality of armor at the time. But the British did have their Hobart funnies with the flail tanks and the ones that laid their own carpets across the beach and whatnot. So, but moving on here, we can see that the British pounded the center here pretty good. The Canadians cleared Juno Beach on both boards actually. And over here, Omaha, though, is a bloody shambles, as they say in The Longest Day. They got absolutely creamed here. And even though they rolled a 10 for reinforcements, you got to put the first 6 in Utah, and then after that, you can take those. So, hey, one good round of rolling, though, is all it takes. So we'll see what happens. Germans also got 7 units here. They put them all here, so they might be doing a push up here. They lost all their armor up here to the fighters, so they tried to leave. They lost the armor, and they lost that armor, just trying to go and help their buddies out. So these guys here decided to stay put, seeing all these hits that are happening. So they're going to wait for the fighters to go home and then try to crowd around some 88s for some defense. So we're going to send the fighters back now. You see how everything is set up for round 2. And we're going to get going. Here we go. We'll let you know how turn 2 turns out. Quick addendum here to the reinforcements, as I forgot to put them on. So this is what the reinforcements look like here on the right-hand board. That's how the British put theirs. And didn't really notice it until I rolled for the blockhouses, and I had to figure out which ones to eliminate. On this board, we actually killed 3 blockhouses, so I looked to see which ones I'd want to take out, and the only 3 left were 2 here on gold, and 1 over here attacking the flank on sword. On the other place here, we only had 1 hit out of 6, so we took the one, of course, off of Omaha Beach. Alright, we're going to get back to it. We'll let you know how it goes. The rest of turn 2. Alright, starting on the left board here at the end of turn 2. And as you can see, for the most part, the Germans have headed up to Cherbourg. And the Allies are pretty strong right here. They got quite a number of units, didn't take a lot of hits. And the Germans certainly did get cleaned out last time they brought in reinforcements. The fighters were pretty nasty. They took out a number of armored units. But as we can see here on Omaha, there are no American troops surviving. They were wiped out last round, and the reinforcements have been plunked here. They rolled a 7, and they had to put the first few on Omaha, but they chose to put them all on Omaha because they want to get rid of all those 88s. The British, on the other hand, find themselves in a little bit of a tough battle here, but looks like they've got enough stuff to be able to take out the Germans. But the Germans got some more stuff coming in here. The Germans' roll was pretty good in the west. They got 9, but in the east another 3. So they only put on 6 units this game beyond what they start with. So that's why they're able to, the British are able to surge forward here, is that the Führer is sleeping, apparently. Over on this board, a much more balanced game. The Axis have been roaming around and the fighters did nary a damage. On this side of the board, I believe they killed one tank over here in Rouen. But for the most part, the Germans are putting up a much stiffer resistance. Now, having said that, Utah Beach is cleared like it is on the other board, and but Cherbourg does definitely have a tougher. They're going to have a tougher job trying to take care of that. Plus, there's a small contingent over here that will be trouble. So the Americans have their work cut out for them there. I think they might have to send the bombers that way and just try to pick them off. Interesting note about the bombers, they just hop on, bomb, then they get shot at, so they do get to bomb first. But you can't bomb into a territory that has Allied units. So that'll be interesting to figure that out. See if they can do some damage. The British are in con, of course. But the Germans will definitely try to push them out of there, and they have enough stuff to do it. It will depend on the dice, though. They were able to put in the 6 and the 6, so they brought in 12 units, which isn't bad until you see that the British were able to actually bring in 12. They rolled boxcars. They're almost out of units, as you can see. That's all they got left for the whole game. Americans, on the other hand, rolled a 6, so they are still fully stocked with units. They got a lot of guys. Oh, we didn't put the 6 units on. So, well, hey, let's do this live action. So they got 6 units, so you take 3 off of there. And then you take the 1, 2, 3 more. You just work your way down. As you can see, those first guys have to go on Omaha Beach, and then the 2 armor and the infantry can go on any beach. So the artillery and this have to go on to Omaha. So they're going to go there, which is a bit of a problem because there's a bit of a backlog there. Maybe they'll be able to clear them out. And U.S. armor will probably be needed up here in Cherbourg. So we're going to put these guys here and see if they can't dislodge the Cherbourg garrison. All right, so that is it for the end of round 2. Like I said, we had the fighters out there, and they didn't do so well this round. They did much better last round. And it was easier for the Germans to avoid them, having only rolled such small numbers on this board. And yeah, we'll see if they're able to push back a little bit in turn 3. Here it goes. Okay, turn 4. Here we go. Well, the Allies rolled pretty well here. They're getting 15 combined units coming on, and doesn't look too bad over here in the west. The center, not terrible. The Germans have lost a lot of armor this game and a lot of units to the air. Over here, though, on the eastern side, it's a little dicier. As you see, the British are down to 1 tank here. In this here, the Germans attacked with this and got 4 or 5 hits with that, and the British got no hits in return. So there's a bit of struggle going on here, at Sword Beach. So the British are having some trouble getting a foothold. You can see the Utah has finally been cleared, and the British are heading over here to help with Saint-Lô. So this board's looking pretty good for the Allies. If the Allies can take care of that the next round, things might go better. And the Germans, once again, rolled very anemically for the reinforcements there. So they're pouring on for the Allies. You can see the British are almost out of units here. Americans are deep into their units, and the Germans really haven't really scratched a lot of the surface here. Got a lot of stuff coming, so maybe a bit of false hope for the Allies on that board. On this board, Americans slowed down their headlong rush. They just get 4 units that are coming in. They all got placed in Omaha there. The British got 6, and they all went into Juneau. And the reason there's a bit of a stack up here, of course, is that 8 maximum rule, and the Americans had 8 at the turn last time when they were supposed to land, so they couldn't put any more on. Germans rolled a 6 and a 5, so they're just bringing on 11 units, which, as we see here, is just a little bit more, one more than what the Allies get on this board. So the Germans are looking much healthier, especially around Saint-Lô. And over here, they're looking very healthy, but as we know, the British, they rolled that 11, so the British have a ton of gear here, but all they have left is that. So they've shown their cards, so to speak, and the Germans are well and truly ready. So we'll see what happens here. This one here looks pretty balanced, but again, who knows what can happen. The Germans also have almost spent themselves over here. They've only got 5 units left to the British 2 units, and the British definitely have more here. So could be a fight for the West over here, but we'll see what transpires here on turn 4. Alright, we're ready for turn 5 here, and things are shaping up. And just a little update, the Americans are down to their last row, and the British are out of reinforcements. Everything they're bringing on is on, and the German 88s took their toll and were able to shoot down one of the British fighters. The Germans also rolled really well. They're bringing on 19 units this round, and every single one of them landed safely because, of course, the fighters were not in those zones. So it's going to be a challenge for the Allies now that the Brits are out of reinforcements. And over on this board, the Port of Cherbourg held firm and wiped out all the Americans that were attacking. And the Americans have a little bit of punch left here. Who knows if it'll be enough. And what a mess we got here in the middle of the board. The Germans have a swath of troops here, and there's 6 turns left, 5 through 10. We'll see if they're able to dislodge them. The Americans still have some reinforcements left, but the British are a spent force. And also, something notable is the Americans no longer have a bomber. It was shot down over Saint-Lô as it tried to bomb some of the armored divisions there. I believe that's where it happened. So yeah, not a lot of fun for them. The big battle that took place here was almost non-existent. Not a lot of hits on either side, just a couple on each side. The Germans kind of stood pat here because they had 4 fighters, so they just left everything here until they were able to bulk up a bit with some 88s to help with maybe keeping the British or the American fighters at bay. Alright, so we are on to turn 5, and once again we can see the Germans have some reinforcements in the west, but the east is dry. So everything that's coming on in the east is done. Now these ones on the west here could come in Chartres, so they can come in here or here. They could of course come in Rennes, but that's Rouen is now off the table, so the British might have an easier time defending Caen once they can get rid of this mess over here. But we'll see what happens on turn 5. We're almost done. The preliminary cards, such as the blockhouses, they no longer have any effect on either board, as there are no more blockhouses left that fire into zones. So they can stay there for the whole game. This guy here doesn't need to be killed, so he'll probably sortie out and try to make a nuisance of himself. Cherbourg on this map is almost under total Allied control, as opposed to the other map where it is under complete Axis control. And Saint-Lô is under much more pressure here than on the other board. So 2 different games, definitely a tale of 2 games, but we'll see what happens. You're on turn 5. Alright, so turn 6 is about to begin. Let's just do a little review here. So Cherbourg is in Allied hands, and the Germans, though, are not going away quietly. They're bringing up a few units here, probably to cause a little grief. which made the Americans actually put some stuff here on the Utah beach, which they probably didn't want to do. St. Lo saw a little bit of action here, and the loss of a few units on both sides. And the American fighters were actually placed in St. Lo, so when the Germans tried to come in, they actually lost one tank as it came in. The British, as we know, and the Americans, by the way, are both out of units to put on this board. And the Germans are pretty much out of units. They've got two more that can come in, but what you see is what you got. And the Allies outnumber them a little bit, but as we know, the German tanks are of a higher quality in attack and defense. Well, everybody attacks at a 3 with a tank, but they defend at a 3 as well. So they have a 1 pip difference, and that's played a role. On this board here, some more exciting news as the British bomber got shot down as well, but at least it killed a tank. But it didn't do much good over here. The Germans, again, they are out of reinforcements here in the east, but the west, they definitely have some punch left coming in. And as we look here, the British look pretty, they're in a bad way. I don't know if they're going to be able to hold Caen here, so their moves might be to the west, or pardon me, to the east a little bit more. Up in Cherbourg, the battling has not gone well for either. Just getting kind of chipped away, but the Germans don't have any reinforcements coming anytime soon. The Allies have a little bit of help, so Cherbourg should fall. St. Lo, though, continues to be a tough nut to crack for the Allies, so they'll probably be placing 4 fighters in there just to hopefully trim down reinforcements as they come in. But the Germans do have a ton of stuff here at the bottom. Again, not moving an awful lot because of the fighter presence in the area. But we'll see where they put their fighters. If they can draw the Allied fighters into the cities, then they can move around the countryside a little easier. We'll see what happens, though, on turn 6 here on our 2-board D-Day game. Alright, turn 7 is about to begin, and Cherbourg, looks like the lines are drawn for the final fight there. A little bit of Allied reinforcements there, but everything is off the boards now, and for both sides on this board, the Allied fighters made short work of the reinforcements coming in here. They killed 3 units of the 5 that were coming in to reinforce, so that really put a stop, including a couple tanks, I believe. So that stopped that, and these fighters here also killed 3 tanks that the Germans were bringing in. Oh, maybe that was on the other board, but I think they killed 2 or 3 units coming in. So the air power is really telling here in the last couple rounds. This, in fact, might be the last round coming up if mathematically it kind of looks impossible. St. Lo, you know, the Germans did have a lot of stuff around here, and I mean they still have a bit of punch, but you know, the Allies do have to kill all this stuff, which is difficult to do. So we'll see. They piled up their air forces in St. Lo and Caen, and the Germans actually attacked here. They just figured they'd come in, and the only things that could make it with tanks, so they brought in 8 tanks, and you can see what happened after that. They lost 3 to air, and they lost 3 in the battle, and they only killed 2 units doing it, so threw away 6 tank divisions to kill a couple of infantry. So that could be the, in Canada we call it the TSN turning point. TSN is the sports network, and they always have this moment in the game where things are going one way and it goes the other, and then some games are so bad that the TSN turning point is the national anthem, and from then on it's just bad. But in this game, this has been a pretty tight one, but it's looking like both of these boards are headed towards Allied victories, but we're going to roll them out because you never know, right? Like if these guys here have a really good roll, I mean, the British are probably going to oust those Germans this turn, but maybe all these German reinforcements coming in, if they survive, might get some lucky rolls, and you never know. So we're going to play this thing out on both boards. We are out of reinforcements for both sides here. There was one American artillery left, and he is now sitting on Omaha. And the Germans are down to their final 88. That's ready to come in next round on turn 8 if we're going to have a turn 8. So there we go, folks. Thanks for sticking with us here. We'll see how this goes. See if the Axis are able to pull something out of the hat here, because this is looking kind of bleak. Alright, so here we are with turn 8, and not much left for the Axis on this board. They've got a hint of a chance up here, because this is all the American stuff that's here, and they actually have to kill everything in order to take the ports. So the Americans may be forced to drag some units up here for a round 10 battle and not have their tanks here. But the German assault in Saint-Lô did not go well. The aircraft took a huge toll. Same as in Caen. And even up here there were 3 German tanks and only there were 4 German and 3 British, I think, and they each got 1 hit. I think is how it went, or maybe it was 3 and 2 and the British got a hit and the Germans didn't. So didn't go too well for them. Of course, everybody's out of reinforcements. Cherbourg here is pretty much a done deal. Saint-Lô completely out of help. They got 4 units left and the Allies have a ton. This is kind of a question mark, but not really. It's probably going to be an Allied victory on both boards now. It's looking like pretty convincing too if they can do it in turn 8. But hey, we'll dice it out and see what happens. All the boards are clear now. No more surprises for anybody. And we'll see. The Allied air power has taken a devastating toll. I wish I should have kept stats. But the Germans just got chewed up. And it brings back memories of if you've studied any of the D-Day and D-Day plus 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, as it was becoming quite apparent that the Germans were going to be unable to push them back into the ocean, that air power was going to be the telling factor. And there were many times that trains and long lines of tanks and trucks with supplies were just absolutely destroyed from the air. The typhoons came in, and the hurricane, the Hawker typhoon, Hawker hurricane came in, and the was it a P-51, I think, where the not sure. I don't know my American ordnance as well, but yeah, just all these roads that you see here coming in, they were under constant surveillance. They had their planes out, and a nice sunny month. June was a little bit of rain, but for the most part it was clear skies, and did not go well for the Germans in the real war or in this game. So yeah, well, we'll see what this brings here. This is turn 8, could be the last one. We'll let you know how it goes in Saint-Lô. Alright, well, we're going to call this Allied victory on this board here on turn 9. The Axis have nothing left on the board except these 2 tanks. And we rolled for the bombers because that'll be something that they'll do next round. And we got 2 hits. So they'll be removed, and the board is completely clear on turn 9 of any Axis units. This board here is pretty much the same thing. In fact, on this one they do have 1 lone infantry here in Perrier, but he's not going anywhere because all 5 of these tanks are going to be heading in there. But we'll just make it official. Here's the 5 tanks, and there we go. We got him. He gets to return fire though, because why not? He's not getting bombed, so he killed the tank. So we'll kill Sherman there. So a couple of very convincing Allied victories, and I gotta say it's because of the air power on both boards. The Germans got absolutely shredded by the air power. I wouldn't be surprised if over the game there wasn't at least 20 hits on German equipment coming in and that's on each board. They absolutely got shredded. So, not unlike the real thing. Congratulations to the Allies here, and it actually looked really good for the Allies on this board early on. The Germans were really anemic, and it just looked really like a good Allied victory, which it turned out to be, of course. This one here looked like a lot worse, a lot more trouble. But then, like I said, the air power around here, anytime that stuff started to move, it was getting shredded. And the Allies, again, were on, I think, by turn 4. I think every British unit was on shore. And the Allies, the Americans weren't far behind. But there you have it, folks. The 2-board D-Day. And again, this is my old version with the much lighter colored troops here for the British, and the new version with the beige, the tan, the camel. I'm not exactly sure what we call these right now, but pretty much the same. One little difference, I have no idea if it's a big deal. The books are the same. As I flipped through them, it looked like everything was pretty much the same. I don't think they changed any of the artwork or anything. But on the outside, there is a sticker here. Now, I'm not sure if that sticker really means anything, but it's just says ages 12 and up to 2 players, I guess. Not really sure what that's all about, but it's got a sticker. It's an actual sticker that's been put on there, and it's not on this one. Is it on the back, maybe? Nope. But everything else looks to be identical. So, hey, if you're in the market to get a copy or want to buy one as a gift, it looks to be in good shape. Nothing missing in this version here, and I didn't get shorted a German tank like I did on the other one. So I got a good printing, I guess. Well, thanks for watching, folks. Hope you've enjoyed this. We're going to be we're hoping to get some guys together and to do a round of the 1939 here, the big one, the big HBG map here. If you haven't had the chance, 1936 is a fantastic game as well from Historical Board Gaming with tons and tons of layers to it. Lots of expansions, and they're just coming out with a new map and new rules. So head on over there to historicalboardgaming.com and look for the 1936 game. And it's a fantastic game. I know that they have put a ton of time and effort into that. And head over to General Hand Grenade. Guy has a great channel with tons and tons and tons of information on 1936, on the expansions, on different units, and all the rest. So head over to his channel and check it out. But there are so many great YouTubers, folks, out there. So hunt around, take a look. I know that there's guys out there who are thinking of doing some custom painting and whatnot. I'm not going to say who, just in case things don't work out. But there's a lot of great stuff going on, and the community is healthier than ever, and there's so many different things coming up. I'm going to be doing a video, hopefully, on some more specialized units and specialized tokens that you can pick up at Historical Board Gaming, and hopefully enhance your experience of any of the Axis and Allies world games. You know, Europe, Pacific, Global, the 1942, G40, all the different iterations out there. There's some fantastic little markers and tokens that really spice up the game without breaking it, and just enhance your gaming experience. So I'm hoping to do a video on that pretty shortly. Good Lord willing and the creek don't rise, and we'll see if I can get some time. Very busy these days with work, of course, being a dad, being a husband, and also trying to get a huge project underway, which I won't talk about yet, but I might share with you on an upcoming video shortly. All right, well, thanks so much, folks. Really appreciate you tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this two-board game of Axis and Allies D-Day. And remember, hug your loved ones, play these games lots, play all sorts of games with your friends and your family, and may the dice be with you.